Hello there, this is Dave Allen for EV20 Questions, and it's road trip day. Well, I wasn't sure if I was going to go on a road trip today, yes or no, because of the fact that, well, I got up feeling a bit tired, and I didn't want to be driving while I was tired, but it's got towards midday and I'm thinking, oh, why not, let's go someplace. I've got a card that's supposed to activate a charger down in Sant Cugat de Vallés, and last time I tried to get into it, there was a Nissan Leaf pulled in there just in front of me, and I couldn't use it. That's the way it goes. The other possibility was to go driving towards France instead. There's a place just over across the border I could go to. It'd probably be a nice trip. Head out towards Figueres. I could charge in Figueres and either on the way there or on the way back, and that would have been quite fine too. In some ways, probably a little bit easier. And I don't know, I think I want to get this one sorted out with this Sant Cugat de Vallés. And I'll probably try another one in the same sort of area region of that one as well. Hello there, this is Dave Allen for EV20 Questions, and I've made it to Sant Cugat de Vallés. And this time I was able to get charging. I was delighted, very happy indeed. And the only difficulty that I had was being able to see the screen, because the sun was behind me and the screen showing the details of what you had to do and stuff was a little difficult to read. And the last time I came here, as I said, there was I think it was a Leaf that pulled in just before me, so I was a bit disappointed I couldn't use it at that particular occasion, but this time it's worked perfectly. I was kind of worried because last time I thought I'd be able to use the AC charging points while the DC was still being used, but he wouldn't let me in. And I was wondering whether it was the problem with the card or was a problem with the fact that you couldn't use the two at the same time. I didn't know, and I wasn't willing to wait around for half an hour while the other card charged up to find out if it was going to work or not. I was a bit struck for time at that particular occasion. I wanted to get something to eat, and there was the possibility of going to the other rapid charger in Sant Cugat de Vallés and using that instead, which I did, and I was successful at, so that was quite good. So the way things are looking so far, it's starting off coming in at 45 kilowatts. It's fairly quickly dropped down to 37 kilowatts, but that's okay because I'm at let's say I'm at 65%. 37 kilowatts coming in is still pretty good. I'm happy enough. I've driven 94 kilometers to get here, which is you know, just a reasonable amount. It wasn't difficult driving today. The motorway wasn't too bad at all, so everything's good. So as it stands at the moment, it'll take 6 minutes to get up to 75%, and probably sort of won't stay much longer than the maybe 10 minutes or 15 minutes at the most, just to see what I can do with it. So we'll see how it goes. It would take 1 hour to get up to 100% here. And if I wanted to, I could sort of go off and have a wander around the town, maybe making use of some facilities around here if I can find them. But I'm tempted to go back to the other place where I was parking before, the other shopping centre, because there's a place in there that does some really nice sandwiches. So that's a possibility. Although I do have some bits and bobs in my bag here that I could eat if I wanted to. So that's something else to consider. So a successful bit of charger hunting today, and I'm happy enough with the way things have gone. And this particular journey is it's useful if I'm going to go to the garage where I bought the car, because it means that I can go there and get some come here and get some charge, because it's not far away from that. They do have a rapid charger there, but last two times I was there, it wasn't working, and it wouldn't surprise me if they still haven't got it fixed. And this as well is another possibility in terms of pulling in off the road when I'm coming back from some place or other. It's one of the ways that I could use to get to the airport, and as I say, it's worth having a place like this where I can pull in and get some charge. Hello there, this is Dave Allen for EV20 Questions, and I've just pulled into a place called RUBI. I had mixed success. There's a rapid charger there, then there's also two Type 2 posts as well. The Type 2 post was able to open up and let me use it using the Barcelona live charging card, which was great. There's also a Renault charging there, and also an Ioniq. Now the funny thing about the Ioniq is that it was charging using the AC plug, so it could have gone to one of the AC ones, but it was actually plugged into the rapid charger, which was stopping the anybody else from using the DC plug-in in there. So it was a bit of a bad show. So it was kind of like being iced, really, you know, because it was a hybrid car. It wasn't a full electric, and so it probably didn't need a lot of charging. And it was plugged into the Rapid and stopping someone from getting a good bit of charge from a Rapid, which is a bit of a bad sort of way, a bit bad etiquette, EV etiquette. So the other thing I noticed as well with this Ioniq is a bit of a sloppy driver, because they'd left the window of the passenger door open, so anyone could have jumped in and unplugged stuff or nicked stuff or whatever else. Just a sloppy driver all round, really. But there you go. When I went into the offices of the Ajuntament, which is where the chargers are situated, I did ask in there if they knew who the car belonged to, and they didn't know. So maybe the person wasn't far away, maybe they were just working the building, maybe they're just a sloppy driver. And while I was charging, I wasn't in there for very long. I only went in there just to use the facilities, really, and just test it out to see if I could use it, and I could. A woman sort of came up and she was having a look around, and I said hello to her, and she wanted to use the charger herself. So obviously she'd been waiting. I think she'd parked somewhere in the car park where I'm parked now, and she wanted to get in there, and I wasn't in huge need of some juice in the car, so I said, sure, no problem, I'll move. So I moved out of the way, and she's able to get in there and put her car on charge. And I think what she was driving was another hybrid. I don't think it was a full electric either. So, but anyway, so more of my journey around Barcelona and then the towns nearby and trying out chargers. I'm wondering what to do next. Do I try out another charge on the way back home, or do I just go home and say, that's it, I've done my bit for the day? I'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye now. Well, I'm having a successful day today. The last place I stopped at was really useful. I was able to get some charge into it, and I brought it up to about 90-something%. Can't remember exactly, I didn't really pay much attention, I didn't really look, but I got a good bit in there while I was stopped. And it was a good place to stop. There was a sports centre and a library and a cafe there, and I found a place where I could go and use the facilities, so I was delighted. Now I thought, well, I'll head towards home, and I found a place. Gosh, aren't these diesel cars noisy? Anyway, I found a place which is on the way home at Cabrera de Mar, and it's a nice place to stop. It's a nice little car park. It's a free place to get some juice into it. And I've got a shade here, so I've got some shade while I'm sort of putting some juice into the car too. What could be nicer? This one was really easy to use, just had to use the Barcelona Live card, put it up against the machine, it says, are you ready to go? Plug it in, so I plugged it in and we're charging. When I arrived here I got about 84%, 85%, something like that. And I don't plan to stay here very long because there's not going to be too much charge going in there. I haven't checked it yet, but I suppose it's going to be around about the 20% mark, or 20 kilowatt mark I should say. And with that I'll have plenty for getting home. I've already got plenty getting home anyway, so this is just going to be nice little icing on the cake. Okay, so I've plugged in and it's all going in quite nicely. I showed you before, I was just filming from the with the camera on top of the roof of the car. And I've got 87% in there, and it's going in at 22 kilowatts, which is about what I thought it would be going in at, which is pretty good, seeing as I'm so high up in the range. I've got 42 minutes before it gets to 100%, but I'm not going to stay here for long. I just wanted to try it out. I wanted to see how well it worked, and it's working bloody marvellous. It's working really good. I'm delighted. It's actually sort of quite close to where I stopped to have a cup of tea and something to eat with Greg a few weeks back. And I didn't realise this was so close, but it's actually a good place to stop. I like this. I did find that there's a bit of traffic sort of heading up in this direction. Maybe it's just the time of day, and it was sort of well, it wasn't too difficult to get past. But if I'm going on the motorway, which is the Mediterranean sort of the one close by the sea sort of motorway, this is a good place to stop. Now my next plan when I've finished here is to go to one more place. I'm not going to charge up there, I just want to see if it's there. I'll check it out, see if it's there, and after that I'll just get on the motorway and head back home. While I was in the supermarket, there was a guy there who pulled into the chargers. This is the one at, what's the place called again? Sant Cugat de Vallés. So at Sant Cugat de Vallés, he pulled into the parking place, and he got into the chargers there, but he didn't know how to use it. So I helped him out a bit. He was actually sort of not the owner of the car, he was just using the car. He got a test drive from the dealers, and it was down to about 20-something%, and he needed to get some juice in there, so he pulled me to the shopping centre. I was able to show him how to use the A and B application so that he could get the charge into it using the rapid charge, which is outside the shopping centre. But he was happy that I showed him how to plug in and get some charge out of the shopping centre, the chargers. What was noticeable there is that there was 4 in a row there where I was talking to the guy, which is great. 4 places to charge the car. And as I was going out of the supermarket, parking under the underground bit there, I went past another 4. So that's great, that is. So it makes it even better as a place for stopping to put some juice in. And you know that you're pulling into Sant Cugat de Vallés. You've got the one which is at the centre of the town, which is the one that I used today to put some charge in. That was the first one I used, using the RFID card that you get from the Ajuntament. Then there's the rapid charger, which is at outside the place there. Also, there is a Type 2 charger in the same place. You can use that. All of these ones so far are free. Then there's the chargers, 8 of them so far is what I've spotted inside the supermarket. So that's a huge number of, that's virtually I say, a charging hub in Sant Cugat de Vallés. I'm impressed. At this place here, there's just the one charger, as there is enough, as in most of the places. It's one of the triple headers. I think it's certainly got the CCS, it's certainly got the CHAdeMO, and I think there is an AC one there as well. So that's the story for the moment. I'm still going in at 20 kilowatts. It's still saying I've got 38 minutes to go before I'm fully charged, and I've got 91% in the battery at the moment, and I've got let's see, 248 kilometres in the battery at the moment, and that's more than plenty for getting home. So I say this one here is just that I'm just doing a bit of checking and just seeing if it works and finding it. I find that the best way to do these things anyway is to always stop at the first opportunity you get to put some charge in, because you never know what's going to happen further on. So if you don't get one at the first one, you go to the next one. If you don't get one on the next one, then you go to the next one, and so on. And then maybe it could be the situation where maybe you've done 3 or 4 and you're having problems all the way along the way, and maybe the problem with the first one was just the fact that there was someone parked in there and you didn't want to wait until they finished and you decided to keep on going. And if all the other sort of options have disappeared and so on, then you've got the choice of going back to one that you know that works, because you saw someone parked in the place and charging there already. So that's the way of thinking about when you're going out doing some charging. It's early days yet with these sort of cars, and I think over the next year it's going to be a huge change. Like your man was saying on the Daily EV podcast, EV Daily, I can't remember what it's called exactly now. His name's Martin Lee anyway. But he was saying that when we first was buying the mobile phones, we used to have to ask, where's the nearest antennas for the mobile phones? We'll have enough coverage. Now you don't even have to think about it. You know that there's mobile phone antennas everywhere, and you're going to have coverage wherever you go. In fact, you know that you're going to have 4G wherever. And that's going to be what it's like in the future, in a year's time, in 2 years' time, when we're running around in these electric cars. We want to go to a place and we won't have to think, well, we'll be able to get charged. We'll just know that there'll be a charger somewhere that we'll be able to plug in, and everything will be sorted out in terms of the cards and the apps and whatever else we need to use them, even if it's got to that point where they're all sort of charges that we have to pay for, and it'll all be sort of nice and easy where we can just use a credit card and pay for it. Okay, so I pulled up this machine here and it's not working. I tried putting the card up against the reader and nothing happened. Pressed some buttons and it just said that the charging points, all of them in fact, are blocked by the supervisor. So I don't know whether this machine has ever worked, because in the plug share application I've seen other people have had trouble with it before. So I don't know what's going on with it, but there's nothing going to happen with this one. There's no point in looking at this one for the moment until it gets fixed. It looks like it should work, but it doesn't.